Hello, welcome back again to BLENDERUSHI live noding. We're gonna continue with this color grid manipulations. Start with a template that give you this random color once again. If you don't know how, just ask me in the comments below. You simply download the GIS and then set up the material, and you should get this kind of setup. Okay, so we have the RGB and then everything works fine. Let's do another simple thing using the array of locations. So we know that the plane gives us this 100 points locations based on this 10 by 10 grids, and apparently with that points we can just use math and a sine. It's actually quite interesting. With the location, you know that if we look at the location, it's like x, y, z, and the x kind of growing and the y also kind of growing in a different way, in a different pattern. We can separate it. We can separate every vector, 100 vector, it's separated into x, y, z, and with the x, for example, we can plug it to the sine and then plug it into this guy, and we have something that looks like a stripes. Maybe we can use math and kind of multiply this sine. So we kind of have this stripe. It's not particularly interesting. Let's make it a little bit more. Okay, more stripes. Let's try in the y direction. Y give you that kind of stripes. Okay, how about if we use x and y together? It's kind of like a trial and error. I'm gonna use sine and cosine and then plug that in, and we're gonna end up with some kind of yeah, interesting looking pattern like this. What do you call this? I can't remember the name for this kind of texture, but yeah, it's like it's stripes. Stripe itself is not particularly interesting, I don't think. Let's say if we use the distance, or I think the distance actually works quite well too in this case. The distance, let's use the distance once again, vector in and a crossover, and then that guy, and then distance can be used for this guy and this guy. Again, we have some kind of stripes, like an arcing stripes based on sine and cosine, which is quite bizarre in itself. There is one setup that I did earlier, and I put it in the GitHub. That's kind of giving you like a kind of a dots pattern. So I'm gonna quickly open my Safari. Sorry, it might take a while. Sine and cosine. We can actually make using the stripes. I'm pretty sure we can get like a more like a, instead of stripes, something that's kind of moving in the x and y direction. Let me have a think. I think I did it differently at some point. Not circular like this, but maybe I did using something like modulo somewhere. Math, and use the modulo here. Where is the modulo? Okay, modulo. And then once we plug into the modulo, we plug it into the sine. Maybe we're gonna get like some kind of repetitions. Oh yeah, but still not what I wanted. I'm gonna search GitHub Spreadshirt. There is one thread that I made that's kind of dealing with procedural texture. I'm gonna grab that real quick. Whenever you're kind of you're using Blender and Spreadshirt add-on, and if you're kind of lost, you can always go to Spreadshirt GitHub and find one of the try finding the answer there, because so many topic already being talked about. Internet is super slow. Let me try again. So vertices, giving out vector, multiply, vector being separated, goes into sine. Try in maybe x sine and cosine together should give us some kind of circular kind of design. Put them together and use addition. Maybe we're gonna get something. Sine cosine, not so interesting. Multiply. No, still not. Okay, let's have a look. Oh well, the internet is super slow at the moment. And find the color grid. This one, color study. I also put the gist in this forum somewhere. This one is the one I was talking about. This is just by using the sine and cosine, and look at this, vector out, and then the x goes into multiplier, and then multiplier goes to sine and cosine, add them together and use absolute. Apparently we just need to use absolute somewhere. So here, math, and plug in absolute. Kind of getting there. We don't need to use the distance, just the x. Somewhat we are getting a totally different result. Interesting. So vector out, x and y with a multiplier, x and y with multiplier. Okay, let's use multiplier here and there. Float. Let's try this. Sine, cosine, addition, absolute. Sine, cosine, addition, absolute goes into the vector x, y, z. Surprisingly, we get just stripes. So what's going on here? Oh yeah, by the way, there is this center options for the plane now. Thanks for the developer for that options. with this option. I don't know why we are getting stripes. That's really weird. File, save as. So this is supposed to be color grid dots. Save it again. All we are getting is stripes. Why is that? Vector out x, y, multiplier, function sine and cosine, and then add them together, and the result goes into absolute. And we did exactly that, and we are getting stripes. How interesting. Let's try with 50 by 50. Still getting the same result. Let's check the value here. There must be something not quite right. Use the stethoscope. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we have a value that's kind of growing. Plug into this guy. It's supposed to be I'm increasing the multiplier here, and then we get lots of stripes. We are not getting rounded result. Okay, so apparently the x and the y, I was using x in both axes. So if I'm using y, I'm getting vertical stripe. If I'm using x, I'm getting horizontal stripes, right? And using them together, I'm getting this kind of pattern, like crisscrossing diagonal pattern. Yeah, this is a mystery of procedural texture. Let's center this, and we can also adjust this multiplier. This is starting to look quite interesting. Let's get rid of the grid first. 3D view. There's one node in SvechOff that can hide grid really quickly. Okay, so back to our texture. Look at from the top view. Okay, so we have control over this. It's very nice, and also we can use multiplier somewhere here. And that's gonna control the contrast somehow. And since this is like a single value, kind of like the vector, we can use let's see, noise, or let's use lerp, vector lerp. Kind of vector lerp is kind of like ramp, but only two color. I'm pretty sure that with vector interpolations you can get more variations of the color. For now, let's just keep it simple. Vector lerp, and the vector goes there, and this one goes to the color directly. You should have color, red and green, and that's because of these two, red and green. Okay, let's see what else we can do here. We probably can use the modulo somewhere. Modulo is always like a cool stuff, like a repeat. The result can be unpredictable, but this is part of the game, part of the explorations. You have to try it. Modulo cos modulo. Okay. So with modulo, you kind of have like half circle, something like that. Let's see if we use modulo on both, and can place this. See, we get like repetition of the wave there, because we are doing it in both direction. We have like almost like a checker pattern effects. Don't know if that's any good. Maybe not so great. Let's if I plug the Z doesn't have any effects. Okay, that's if I use like tangent, we get that kind of design. Again, it's I didn't know that we're gonna get that. It's just like a trial and error. Arc sine, no, arc sine, radiance, absolute here, no. It's interesting. Ceiling, floor or exponent is interesting. Okay, tangent, nothing. Pi. Okay. Wonder what happened if I use multiplier here. Okay, I'm getting like a square. That's also kind of interesting. Change the color if you like. Back to this guy. Let me have a think. What else we can do here? Maybe what happened if we use like a noise or random value? So this guy goes in there, scalar, plug in there. Didn't do much unless I'm plugging it like that, and now the noise is part of the calculations. Maybe if I can control the scale of the noise. Multiply by scalar. So controlling the noise, maybe less noise. So this is almost like when we are using noise and plug it into the UV. It's very interesting. Cell noise even. Pretty random. So you get like some kind of checker pattern there. Interesting. Maybe we just leave it right here. Just play around and test all kind of functions. They are all still pretty basic. It's all the functions that you have in the spreadsheet, but you can always, if you feel like you want to do more, you can write your own script node and then see what kind of design you can come out with. So here we can just take a snapshot. Okay, that's pretty much it for this live noding. It's a quick one just to make like a dot pattern using sine and cosine and the array of points. You get this kind of design. Remember that this is how many? This is like 2,500 points, which is 2,500 values, and currently we are just outputting color, but we can use the color to kind of generate anything. You can use this color just to maybe like to displace the mesh, or you can also use it to instance some objects, whatever. But this is like a kind of the basic of procedural textures. Once you have the texture, you can use it for anything. Okay, let me know what you think. Any comment, suggestion, I'll read it later. And thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.